Are we on? Okay. Yeah, just figuring out how to use the webcam on this new computer. It's a little bit suspect, but it's fine. You have no idea how fucking stoked I was when I found out that Split was getting released in my town, because it's been fucking ages since I last did a Spoiling Everything, and I wanted to do a Spoiling Everything of the Bye Bye Man because it just sounded so retarded, but the only theater, like the closest theater near me where it was getting released, was at the Salmon Run Mall, which is over an hour away and across the border. So, not planning any trips to the States for the next, 4 years, so you can't do that. So, yeah, super fucking stoked to see this movie because I heard some good shit about it. Some of it was true. So, yeah. I know I say spoiling everything in the title as just a general cover-all, but I can't spoil everything because that would take fucking years, and I don't have a very good memory. But the point is, spoil major plot points and scares, because that's what we're here to do. So, yeah. And you know what? Props to this movie right off the bat, because it doesn't mess around with any bullshit. We don't have to worry about, introducing characters, or, we don't spend, 10 minutes fucking around and pretending that this is a movie that isn't a horror movie. So, we're at this chick's birthday party, and our main character, Casey, is there, and she, the person who was coming to pick her up and drive her home, their car broke down. So, the birthday girl's dad is just well, I'll drive you home, fine, whatever. And, yeah, so they all get into the car. It's Casey and, the birthday girl and her friend. I don't remember their names, fucking sue me. And, yeah, the dad's putting some stuff in the trunk, and then this was in the trailer, the dude who is Professor X just, gets in the car, and he knocks all the girls out with his, fucking spray or whatever. And, yeah. It's pretty fucking tense right off the bat, and I appreciate that. And then, all the girls wake up in this room somewhere, underground or something, and, the dude shows up again. He's wearing glasses or whatever, and he takes out a chair and, sits in it, and he points at one of the girls, and he's I'll pick you first, and then, he drags her out into the hallway, and, the main girl, Casey, is pee on yourself, and I'm just okay, this girl's been through some shit, and, yeah. So, the girl does that, and, the guy's just gross, man, and then he, throws her back in. Yeah. So, I don't remember the movie specifically in order, because, a lot of time takes place, underground in this, bunker area where the girls are trapped, and it all sort of, melts together, intermixed with these scenes of, the crazy guy. He's multiple personalities, right? He's got 23 of them. That's the main selling point of this movie. Oh, it's this crazy fucking guy and his 23 split personalities. It's crazy. But in reality, we only ever get to see about maybe 10 of them, which is okay, fine. But false advertising. But then again, I'm sure they advertised The Last Airbender as a good movie, so I can't really blame them too much. So, yeah. So, there's this one personality, Barry, that's a fashion designer, and he goes to meet up with this therapist that he's been seeing, because he sent her an email really late at night saying we need help, and then he's just I was just playing around, I felt bad, but now I'm okay, and some shit's going down. Yeah. So the doctor lady is she's gonna be talking over Skype at this conference or something, saying how she's explaining how each split personality is a different person, a unique being. They can be stronger than another personality, or smarter, their IQs are different. Yeah. So it's basically she's laying the groundwork to this idea that even though these are different personalities, they are completely different people, just in the same body. Which is kind of dumb, but it kind of works out, okay? The girls are all trapped in this one room, and eventually they see a lady outside the door, and you know this scene because you saw it in the trailer, which is like, come on, way to spoil a great reveal. Like, you know, they open, like, the door gets open and it's revealed that it's just, like, the same dude but wearing drag, and he's like acting like a lady, and it's just like, you know, that could have been so surprising, but I guess they just needed it for the trailer. Fine, whatever. So, like, it goes on through, like the main personality that we see, called Dennis, is like, he has OCD and he's a pervert, basically, and he's always like, he spends the majority of the movie just taking, like, various pieces of clothing from the girls, saying that they're dirty and, like, they just need to stop wearing them, and, like, ugh, yeah. But fortunately, our main girl, she's wearing a lot of shirts, like at least 4 shirts, and I respect that dedication to layering, you know? Anyway, so yeah, then there's like a third personality we're introduced to called Hedwig. I don't have time to make a Harry Potter joke. Yeah, and he is like a 9-year-old boy, and like she's like trying to roll with this a little bit. She's like, okay, maybe I can convince him to help us get out of here, but like she can't, because he runs away, and then they're just like, he mentions something about like the room being made safe, so like one of the girls gets up on the bed and she's like, she hacks at like the ceiling with her high heel, and yeah, she finds like a grate and she like escapes through it while Hedwig tries to break back into the room, and then all of a sudden he's Dennis again, and he goes like chasing after her. She crawls through a vent, because, you know, like, vents in movies are always fucking huge, and she escapes out into like a hallway of pipes, and then she hides in a locker like that Alien video game. Creepy. But then Dennis finds her anyway, and he's like, your sweater is filthy, take it off, and like then he locks her in another closet or something, and yeah. So like, this is all like intercut with scenes of him going back to the doctor's office, where she's just like, are you sure everything's okay? She's like, I believe that you're all like distinct personalities and whatnot, and he's just like, no, totally cool, whatever. And yeah. And then she's like, I think you're just Dennis pretending to be Barry, and he's like, nah, you crazy. And then she does this thing where like she talks to like the building, like the security guard or whatever, to get like some video footage of him leaving the building. And the security guard guy is played by M. Night Shyamalan, and I'm just like, dude, I know this isn't egregious as your role in Signs, but knock it the fuck off with throwing yourself into your movies. Enough. So yeah, they see that like there's like a tipped over thing of trash, and the guy just like walks right through it, and she's like, no, that was an act, because a normal person would have just walked around it. Yeah. So, And then back at the ranch, like the 2 girls are still like stuck in the room, and eventually like the lady personality shows up, and she's like, here, have something to eat, and she's like brushing Casey's hair, and she's like, we shouldn't eat here, we should eat in like the kitchen for like a proper meal. So the one girl, she spots a way out, and she's like, I'm gonna take this chair and I'm gonna like whack this bitch over the head. Which, you know, I can't really blame her. Like, these girls are like throwing out all their survival instincts, and Casey's kind of like not doing anything. She's like, this ain't gonna solve shit. You feel like she knows something even though she doesn't. Like, she's just kind of a mysterious character, and like all the while we're having flashbacks to her childhood when she went hunting with her dad and her creepy uncle, who was probably a rapist, and, well, basically definitely a rapist. They don't show anything, but it's fucked, okay? So yeah. And yeah, so the girl, like, she grabs a chair, fucking whacks her in the back with it, and then the lady personality, Patricia, that's her name. She's like, Casey. He doesn't call her by name, whatever. She's like, go back to your room. I'm gonna deal with this shit. And she grabs a knife. And, yeah. She, like, chases after the girl who gets cornered somewhere. And she's like, okay. She, like, threatens her, says some vague bullshit. And she's just like, okay, I'm putting you in another storage room now. Whatever. And, like, all this time they're talking about, like, this beast thing that is coming. Like, it's the 24th personality, and it's gonna take shape, and, like, it lives in a train yard. And yeah, there's, like, all this, like, nonsense about, like, how when one personality takes over, like, they take the light, and, like, when they're not in the light, they have to sit in chairs. Yeah. So, and it, like, it used to be that, like, Barry would decide who would take the light, but, like, now that ability has been stolen by Hedwig. Fucking whatever. So, yeah. Then, I believe this is where shit gets kind of gross. I know. Like, Casey wakes up in, like, the middle of the night, and, like, Hedwig is in the bed with her, and, like, ew. And then he, like, tells her some fucking nonsense about whatever, about how he controls the light now. And then they end up, like, he's like, can I kiss you? And I'm just like, don't do this, movie, but they do it anyway. And yeah, they kiss. I'm not gonna tell you what he says because it was fucking hilarious. Hedwig is fucking hilarious. He's gross, but he's hilarious. And he's like, I have this stereo in my room, and I like to play Kanye songs. And, like, it's right next to a window. And she's like, oh, can you, like, take me to your room so I can see it? And he's like, not now. Like, Dennis has to prepare a thing, but I'll come back for you later, and we can hang out there. Yeah. So, I don't remember what happened in between that. Let's just say he goes to another appointment with the doctor to talk about some fucking shit. And then eventually, like, Hedwig comes back and gets Casey, and they're just like, come on, we'll sneak into the room. And it goes into this really awkward dance segment where it's just like, he turns on the music, and I don't even know if it was actually a Kanye song. He just starts, like, fucking freaking out to it, and it's hilarious. But there is no window there. It's just a drawing of a window. And yeah, and then Casey's like, I thought you wanted to show me something cool. And then he gives her, like, a radio. It's like a walkie-talkie thing, and she tries to call for help from it, but the dude on the other end just thinks, like, she's playing around, or she's somebody that, like, he knows, and he doesn't believe her at all. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? So, yeah. And then, like, Hedwig attacks her with a baseball bat. She tries to fight back, and then Dennis takes over. No, wait, not Dennis. Patricia. Whatever. And she makes her go back to the room, and she's like, the beast is coming, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I believe at that point, the doctor is, like, starting to suspect some shit because, like, she gets, like, 20 emails from the personalities, and she's like, okay, I need to, like, go to where Dennis is, and, like, he's in some, like, sort of, like, basement area that he's allowed to work at because he manages some whatever, which is like, revealed later, whatever. So, yeah. She's like, Dennis, can we go inside and talk? And she reveals that, like, the way to bring, like, the dude they're all inhabiting the body of is called Kevin, and she's like, if I say Kevin's full name, I can bring him back for, like, a short time, but, you know. And, yeah, so she starts talking with Dennis in, like, a kitchen, and he's like, I've met the beast, he's coming, and He's spooky, he can crawl on walls and shit, and he's like indestructible, and he's super fucking tough. So she's like, okay. And then she's just like, she's about to leave, and she's like, hey, can I use your bathroom? And then she comes across, like, the girls locked in the storage closet, and then Dennis knocks her out, and yeah. So then I believe, yeah, Casey managed to, like, steal a screw that she found on the ground, and she, like, uses it to break out of her room, and meanwhile Dennis is off, like, buying flowers. I don't fucking get it. And she manages to escape her room, but it's, like, to another room, and she can't get past, like, the second door. So she's like, she goes on, like, this computer that's in the room, but she can't connect to the internet, which is, like, whatever. So then she sees all, like, these labeled videos on, like, the desktop that say, like, Allison, Patricia, Barry, like, it's all videos of the different personalities. And we find out that, like, one of the personalities is diabetic, but, like, none of the other ones are. Whatever. So, yeah, she eventually finds out through those videos that, like, that the key is, like, under Barry's hat on, like, the hook on the back, and she's just like, okay, sweet. But, like, at the same time, the other girls, like, they're like, we need to find a way to get out of here. So I don't know why they weren't doing this before. It's been, like, fucking days, right? So they find, like, a hanger, and they twist it open, and they try to, like, get the latch open with it, and it's to mixed success. And while all that's going on, like, Patricia and Dennis, like, they lay the flowers down at a subway station, which is, like, empty. I don't even know where we are. So they go inside the train, and then like, this, like, he rips off his shirt, because why not? And then he becomes, like, a beast man. He, like, runs off the train, and he starts booking it through, like, a fucking rail field. I don't know. Like, he books it back. He just runs. I guess he doesn't have a driver's license. Fuck it. He doesn't have a car. Whatever. So he books it back to there. Meanwhile, the doctor is woken up and is, like, writing something on a piece of paper on the desk, but, like, she's still fucking out of it because she's been, like, you know, fucked with. So then, as she wakes up, like, she grabs a knife off the table, and then she sees, like, I guess he's, like, the beast, or, like, whatever the fuck he is. He's, like, covered in veins, and he's all gross and shit, and he's like, thanks for your help so far. And then he, like, grabs her from behind, and he, like, starts squeezing her, and she tries to stab him with the knife, but it breaks in half. That's dumb, but okay. And then he, like, breaks her spine, and she's dead. So, yeah, that sucked. And then, like, meanwhile, Casey is escaping because she has the keys, and then she sees that, like, oh, the doors are open to her friends', like, cells or holding places, whatever. Anyway, she sees that it's open, and she's like, hey, girl, and, like, she whispers to her, and, like, she's just been eviscerated. Like, her stomach has been ripped out. It's disgusting. And then she goes to the other one, and she's like, hey, we can escape together, and then she gets dragged off camera, even though the room really wasn't that big, and, like, you can see that, like, the beast guy is basically eating her, because I guess that was just the amalgamation of, like, craziness. He just turns into, like, a superhuman that can eat people. I don't fucking know, whatever. So, yeah. Then she makes it back to, like, the room where the doctor is, and then she sees the note that the doctor wrote. It's like, you have to say his name. It's, Kevin Wendell Grum, I think. Fuck it. And, yeah. And then, like, the dude, the beast guy, he actually can climb on walls. Like, he shows up for no reason. He just starts climbing on the walls, just, I guess, to intimidate her. And then she says his name, and then he starts, like, flipping out and, like, being all weird. And then Kevin comes back, and he's like, who are you? What happened? And he's like, did I hurt you? And he's like, oh shit, the doctor's dead. And he's like, I don't remember any of this. Last time I knew it was like September 2014 and I was on a bus. And he's like, and then he tells her, like, there's a gun in the cabinet. It's hidden behind a bunch of stuff, and there's some shells in, like, my locker down the hall. Kill me? Which, fair enough, you know? So, yeah. Then he starts, like, cycling through, like, some personalities, like the one that's diabetic, and this one that's obsessed with history, and then Barry, and then he goes back to, like, Dennis and Patricia and Hedwig, and, like, they're just like, we're, like, better than humanity or something. I don't fucking know. So, like, then she tries saying his name again. It doesn't work. Great. So she manages to get out of the room somehow, and she makes it down, like, the hallway of pipes, and she gets, like, the shotgun shells and whatever. So, yeah. Then, like, the beast starts chasing after her, and it's like crawling on walls and shit and being all scary. And eventually, like, she gets, like, cornered in this sort of, like, cage, and she tries shooting at it, like, twice, and then he looks up, and he starts, like, ripping the bars of the cage open, because he's, like, super fucking strong, and his teeth are bleeding, and it's nasty, and then he sees, like, her shirt's gotten ripped off, and, like, you can see, like, she's covered in scars and shit. Probably terrible backstory to those. And he's like, you are pure, because the broken are pure, and then he fucks off. Yay. Whatever. And then, like, the next day, like, some employee dude comes down there and finds her, and it turns out they were, like, underneath a zoo the entire time, because he worked at a zoo. Okay. And, yeah. And then, like, tell the police what happened. She gets, like, treated in an ambulance. And, yeah. Shit's still fucked. But, and then it cuts to, like, Dennis, whatever the fuck he is. He's like, in an abandoned house, looking in a mirror and cycling through his personalities, and, like, because she had shot him, like, Casey had shot him twice, but, like, it only looked like he kind of got scraped up a little bit, like, the bullets didn't go through him, and they're just like, we are whatever we believe we are, so nothing can hurt them, I guess. Fine. Sequel bait, maybe? See, here's the part I don't understand, because, okay, this is the biggest twist of all time, and it's kind of dumb, but hear me out on this. Okay, so then we're in, like, a diner, and we hear, like, the news reporter, like, on the TV talking about this thing, and, like, she's like, this man is now being referred to as the Horde, and then some lady, acting really hammy, is like, the Horde, that reminds me of this guy who was called Mr. No, like, she's like, there was this guy in a wheelchair a few years ago, and he had a name like that too. What was his name? And then camera pans over, and I'm not kidding you, Bruce Willis is there, and he says Mr. Glass. And I had to take an educated guess on this, and I was right. This connects the movie to Unbreakable, which I never saw, but okay, you got your twist in there, Shyamalan. See, I don't understand if this is, like, sequel baiting for Split, or for Unbreakable, or if it was just so he could have a twist ending. I don't really know. But, you know, I think just seeing Bruce Willis at the end of a movie, twist enough on its own, really. I mean, fair enough. It's not a bad movie. It's not exactly scary. It's more, like, interesting just to see, like, the different personalities that this guy cycles through, but, like, I kind of wish we had gotten to see more of them. Like, we spent the majority of the time, like, focusing on 3 of them. And those 3 were fucking boring. It's a 9-year-old, an OCD pervert, and an old lady. Lame. So, yeah. It's kind of an alright movie. It's not great, but I don't think it was a waste of money to go see it, so, I kind of recommend it. It's not bad. It's not bad. Like, you know, like some people were saying that like Shyamalan, he like got his groove back with The Visit. I never saw The Visit. I heard some shit about it, but like, yeah, it was just okay. So yeah, good to finally be back to spoiling everything. That is a really long video. Hope nobody minds watching all of it. You probably haven't. It's fine. So, yeah. I'll probably be back pretty soon with a new review. Enjoy the rest of your day.